High-value networking, navigating elite spaces without losing your authentic self. Introduction, the room where it happens. There is a room somewhere that changed the trajectory of someone's life. Maybe it was a dinner party. Maybe it was a professional conference. Maybe it was a small gathering in someone's home, or a casual conversation at the edge of an event where no one was paying attention. In that room, a connection was made, a door was opened, or an idea was planted that grew into something extraordinary. Networking is often talked about as if it is a mechanical process. Collect cards, follow up, build your list, say the right things, dress the right way. But for women who have actually navigated elite spaces and built meaningful professional networks, the truth is far more nuanced and far more interesting. The highest value networking is not a performance, it is not a hustle, and it is absolutely not about becoming someone else to impress the right people. This book is about how to enter rooms that matter, how to navigate them with grace and confidence, and how to build relationships that compound over time, all without losing the thing that makes you genuinely interesting, yourself. Chapter 1. Redefining what high-value networking actually means. Let us start by clearing away some of the noise around networking, because a lot of what passes for networking advice is actually just performance coaching dressed up in professional language. You have probably heard it all before. Work the room. Have your elevator pitch ready. Connect with everyone. Follow up within 24 hours. Build your personal brand. Make yourself memorable. None of these are wrong. Exactly. But taken together, they paint a picture of networking as a kind of social performance, where authenticity is a liability and strategy is everything. High-value networking is something different entirely. It is the practice of building genuine relationships with people who are doing interesting, meaningful work in a way that creates mutual value over time, not transactional relationships, not one-sided relationships, not relationships built on what someone can do for you right now. Genuine, layered, human relationships that develop through shared experiences, shared values, and shared investment in each other's success. The women who build the most powerful professional networks are not the ones who are best at performing connection. They are the ones who are actually genuinely curious about other people, who listen more than they speak, who follow up not because a networking guide told them to, but because they actually care about the conversation they just had. This is what we mean by high-value networking, and it is built on a foundation of authentic self-expression, not performance. Why authenticity is your greatest asset. There is a paradox at the heart of elite networking. The spaces where the stakes feel highest, where the people in the room have the most power and influence, are often the spaces where performance is most transparently obvious. Highly successful people have usually encountered thousands of people who want something from them. They have developed a finely tuned radar for inauthenticity. They can feel when someone is performing interest rather than feeling it. They can hear when the questions are rehearsed rather than genuine, and they find it exhausting. When you walk into a room as yourself, with genuine curiosity and real opinions and authentic energy, you are already doing something that most people in the room are not doing. You are being real, and realness is magnetic. This does not mean being unpolished or unprepared. It means that the preparation you do is in service of your authentic presence, not in replacement of it. Chapter 2. Understanding elite spaces. Before you can navigate elite spaces effectively, you need to understand what they actually are and how they function. Elite spaces are not monolithic. A boardroom is an elite space. So is gallery opening. So is a private club dinner, a professional association retreat, a high-level mastermind, a political fundraiser, or a small gathering of founders. The form they take varies enormously, but they share some common characteristics. They are often curated. Access is controlled, either formally through invitation or membership, or informally through reputation, relationships, and social capital. The people in the room tend to be accomplished in some domain or connected to someone who is. They have unspoken rules. Every elite space has a culture, a set of implicit norms about how people behave, what topics are appropriate, what signals status, and what signals outsider status. Reading these norms quickly is a critical skill. They run on trust. Elite spaces function as networks of trust. The relationships formed within them are built on a foundation of shared accountability. People vouch for each other. Introductions carry weight. Reputation travels fast. Reading the room. One of the most important skills for navigating elite spaces is the ability to read the room quickly. This is not about being a chameleon. It is about being perceptive. What is the energy of the event? Is it formal or relaxed? Is it focused or social? What do people seem to care about? Who are the connectors? The people who seem to know everyone and make introductions freely. Who are the anchors? The people who attract others to them and hold court. Who is on the periphery? Potentially overlooked, but often the most interesting conversations in the room. Where are the natural gathering points? Where are people lingering, leaning in, laughing? These are the conversations worth joining, not because you should force your way in, but because energy is information. What is the pacing? Some events move fast, with brief conversations and frequent movement. Others are slow and deep, with sustained conversations over a longer evening. Matching the pacing of the room is part of navigating it well. Chapter 3. Entering the room with confidence and intention. The most nerve-wracking moment for many people is the entry. Walking into a room full of accomplished strangers, often alone, when everyone else seems to already know each other. Here is something important to know. Almost everyone in that room, no matter how confident they appear, has felt that same nervousness at some point. The difference between the person who seems effortlessly at ease and the person who hovers at the edge is often not natural confidence. It is practice, and it is intention. Setting your intention before you enter any significant networking event or elite space. Set an intention, not a goal of collecting contacts or handing out business cards, but a genuine intention for the experience. Some examples of strong intentions. I want to have one genuinely interesting conversation tonight. I want to learn something new from someone who sees the world differently from me. I want to be fully present in every conversation I have, without worrying about the next one. Intentions like these orient you toward quality over quantity. They focus your attention outward, on the other person, rather than inward on your own performance. And they take the pressure off, because you have succeeded if you have one real conversation, not 20 superficial ones. The art of the warm entry. When you arrive in an unfamiliar room, resist the urge to grab your phone as a social prop, which is a habit that signals discomfort and disconnects you from the room. Instead, take a breath, scan the room genuinely, and find a natural entry point. Natural entry points include joining someone who is standing alone, who is often relieved to have company, joining the edge of a group that has open body language, or making a simple, genuine observation to someone nearby. Not a rehearsed opener, just a real human moment of connection. The first 30 seconds of any conversation rarely matter as much as we think they do. What matters is what happens in the first 3 minutes, when you move from pleasantry to genuine exchange. Chapter 4. The Anatomy of High-Value Conversation. The most powerful skill in any networking context is the ability to have a genuinely interesting conversation, not to pitch, not to impress, not to perform your own accomplishments, to be genuinely, curiously engaged with another human being. This sounds simple. It is not easy. The art of genuine curiosity. Genuine curiosity is rare. Most people in conversation are partially present at best. They are thinking about what to say next, wondering how they are coming across, mentally scanning the room for the next conversation, or waiting for the moment to share their own story. When you are genuinely curious about the person in front of you, they feel it. It is one of the most powerful gifts you can offer another person. Your full, undivided, genuinely interested attention. Develop a habit of asking questions that open conversations, rather than closing them. Not yes or no questions, but questions that invite reflection and story. Not, what do you do? But, what are you most focused on right now? Not, how long have you been in this industry? But, what do you find most interesting about this space right now? Listen for the thing they said that they did not develop. Listen for the passion that flickered when they mentioned something almost in passing. Ask about that. People love to be seen, and the person who notices and asks about the unspoken thing becomes memorable. Sharing yourself with intention. High-value networking is not about self-erasure. Your perspective, your experiences, and your ideas are genuinely interesting, and sharing them is part of creating mutual value in a conversation. The key is to share yourself in response to the conversation, not as a performance on top of it. Share a perspective because it genuinely adds to what is being discussed. Share an experience because it is actually relevant. Share an idea because you are excited about it and think the other person might be too. This is different from steering every conversation back to your own accomplishments, which is a common and alienating networking mistake. It is also different from never sharing anything personal, which keeps conversations superficial. The goal is genuine mutuality. Both people leave the conversation having given and received something real. Chapter 5. Building relationships that last. A conversation at an event is a seed. Whether it grows into a meaningful relationship depends on what happens next. The follow-up as relationship investment. Following up after a meaningful conversation is one of the most underused and most powerful moves in networking. Not a generic great to meet you email, a specific, genuine follow-up that demonstrates you are actually listening. Reference something specific from your conversation. If they mentioned a book they were reading, or a project they were working on, or a challenge they were navigating, acknowledge it. Share a resource, an article, an introduction that is genuinely relevant to something they mentioned. Ask a follow-up question that shows you have been thinking about what they said. This kind of follow-up is rare. It is memorable, and it is the beginning of a real relationship. The long game of relationship building. The highest value professional relationships are built over years, not conversations. They develop through repeated contact, through mutual support, through showing up for each other in moments that matter. Think about the people in your network who have made the biggest difference in your professional life. Almost none of them became important overnight. They became important through a series of small interactions, each of which added a layer of trust and understanding. This means that high-value networking is not just about the events you attend. It is about how you maintain the relationships you are building over time. Reaching out to share something relevant, celebrating their wins, offering support when they face challenges, making introductions that benefit both parties. Chapter 6. Navigating power dynamics. Elite spaces often have complex power dynamics. Understanding how to navigate them without either deferring unnecessarily or overstepping is a critical skill. The danger of over-deference. Many people, particularly women, make the mistake of over-deferring to people who hold more power or status in a room. This over-deference shows up as self-effacement, overqualification of opinions, and a general shrinking that makes you less interesting and less credible to the very people you are hoping to impress. High-status people are not looking for people who agree with them or are intimidated by them. They find those people boring. They are looking for people who challenge them intellectually, who bring a perspective they have not considered, who are confident enough to disagree thoughtfully. Your authentic perspective is a contribution, not a liability. Bring it. The danger of overplaying on the other side. Overplaying your own status or accomplishments in an attempt to impress is equally counterproductive. Name-dropping, unsolicited credential sharing, and competitive one-upmanship are signals of insecurity, not confidence, and they are quickly recognized as such by people who have seen a lot of networking. Confidence does not need to announce itself. It shows in how you listen, how you ask questions, how you respond when challenged, and how you treat people who have less power in the room than you do. Chapter 7. When you are the only one in the room. For many women, navigating elite spaces means navigating spaces where they are visibly different from the majority, the only woman at the table, the only person of color in the room, the youngest person, the only person without a certain credential, the only person from a certain background. These experiences are real, and the additional labor they require is real. You may need to work against assumptions. You may need to establish your credibility in ways that others do not. You may face subtle or not so subtle forms of exclusion. Navigating these dynamics with grace is genuinely hard, but there are some principles that consistently serve women in these situations. Own the space. Your presence in the room is legitimate. Carry yourself as someone who belongs, because you do. This is not about performance or false confidence. It is about refusing to internalize other people's limitations. Build internal alliances early. Find the other people in the room who see and value you. Often other people who are also navigating the room from a position of some difference. These alliances become your anchor points. Let your work speak loudly. In spaces where you have to establish credibility against assumptions, one of the most powerful moves is simply being so excellent that the assumptions become untenable. This is not fair, but it is effective. Know when to leave. Not every room is worth the energy it costs to navigate. Part of high-value networking is also discernment about which spaces and communities deserve your investment. Chapter 8. Creating your own rooms. One of the most powerful moves available to high-value women is not just navigating other people's rooms, but creating their own. When you host a dinner, convene a mastermind, organize a small gathering of interesting people, or build a community around a shared interest or mission, you become the architecture of connection. You define the culture, you set the tone, and you build a network that is uniquely yours. Creating your own rooms allows you to build a professional community that reflects your values, your aesthetic, and your vision of what meaningful connection looks like. And it positions you as a hub, someone who brings people together, which is one of the most valuable positions in any network. Conclusion. The network that reflects your best self. The network you build over the course of your career is one of your most valuable assets, but its value is not measured in numbers. It is measured in depth, in trust, in the quality of the relationships that make up its fabric. High-value networking is not about maximizing contacts or optimizing your professional image. It is about building a community of people who know you, trust you, support you, and challenge you. People whose success you genuinely celebrate, and who celebrate yours. This network is built one real conversation at a time, one honest exchange, one moment of genuine curiosity, one follow-up that says, I was listening, and I care. It is built by being yourself, your most thoughtful, curious, generous self. In every room you enter, that is the art of high-value networking, and it is yours to practice. starting now.